Hi, my name is Kristin Fahndrich, and this is my sensory-based exploration assignment. So first for my lesson, I decided to first do a read aloud with The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle, since it discusses food. And then I will have the fruits and veggies organized by color at 4 different centers around the room. The students will look, touch, taste, smell, and listen to each fruit and veggie. As they try each item, they will either circle the item they liked on the worksheet or cross out the ones they did not like. At the end of the lesson, the students will fill out a worksheet with the foods they enjoyed and did not enjoy. The key points of sensory-based exploration: it used their senses to explore and try to make sense of the world around them. Helps to build nerve connections in the brain's pathways, engages the ability to learn and retain the most information while senses are being used, supports cognitive growth, language development, gross motor skills, social interactions, and problem-solving skills, aids in developing and enhancing memory, and harnesses their natural curiosity. The physical domain. This activity engages the physical domain because it uses all 5 senses. For vision, they will get to see the different colors of each fruit and vegetable. For taste, they will taste each item and decide whether they enjoy it or not. For touch, they will touch each item and feel the different textures. For smell, they will use their nose to smell each item. And for hearing, they will listen to what each item sounds like as it's crunched between their fingers or cut. For the cognitive domain will be met as the students try each and every food for the first time. The students will analyze and evaluate each food item and discuss their feelings toward each. As a facilitator, I will ask the group questions such as, how does it taste, salty or sweet? Is it crunchy or soft? Questions like this will spark conversation and allow opinions to circulate around the table. For the social domain will be met through discussion within the centers. The students will be placed into 4 groups with 5 students each. The students will freely converse as they try the fruits and vegetables as they construct their own opinions. For the emotional domain will be met as the students are given the opportunity to freely express themselves throughout the whole activity. For young students, it is important for their well-being to learn how to manage and convey their feelings. Sharing their feelings towards fruits and vegetables will allow them to positively influence their peers to share how they honestly feel. For the language literacy domain, the language and literacy domain is met by the communication of the students and also through the writing that the students will take part in at the end of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, the students will fill out a chart with 2 sides, one for the foods they liked, as I showed here, and another side for the foods they did not like. They will have to write the name of each food into the chart, which targets the writing portion of the literacy and language domain. For the aesthetic domain will be met by the appreciation the students will feel for their environment that created these fruits and vegetables that they get to enjoy during this lesson. Throughout the lesson, I, as a facilitator, will strive to show the students that fruits and vegetables are a blessing to have and they enrich our bodies to foster a healthy life. So these are my quotes. So first, for the cognitive domain, all kids can benefit from multisensory lessons. If kids learn something using more than one sense, the information is more likely to stay with them. The engaging activities result in a better memory of the skill. And that was by understood. For the physical domain, multisensory teaching isn't limited to reading and listening. Instead, it tries to use all of the senses. Not every lesson will use all 5 senses: touch, taste, smell, sight, hearing, and movement, but in most multisensory lessons, kids engage with the material in more than one way. That was also from understood. For the social emotional domain, the core features of the emotional development include the ability to identify and understand one's own feelings, to accurately read and comprehend emotional states in others, to manage strong emotions and their expression in a constructive manner, to regulate one's own behavior, to develop empathy for others, and to establish and maintain relationships. And that came from the National Scientific Council on Developing Child, 2004. For the aesthetic domain emphasizes helping children to perceive the environment, enrich their imagination and creation, and develop aesthetic feelings and preferences. That came from MOE in 2012. And for the final one, literacy and language domain, they involve development of the skills used to communicate with others through language development, as well as the ability to read and write, which is literacy development, and that came from Universal Class. So for the teacher materials, I would need to prepare all of the fruits and vegetables to be cut and also have a whole version of them before the class, so before the students are in their seats, obviously. And I would also have to have the book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. For student materials, so each and every student would have their own copy of each of these worksheets. So the first one would be the one that they got to circle which ones that they liked and which ones that they didn't, and the second worksheet would be where they put which foods that they liked on the happy face side and then which foods that they didn't like on the sad face side. So for the sample setup, I would have all of the fruits characterized. They would be in 4 groups instead of 5 like it shows here, but I would have them all characterized by color, and there would be 4 centers, so at each center there would be 1 fruit bowl or basket, and they would all be in the same color. So one would be red, one would be blue, one would be yellow. So they would all get to try different ones. In preparation for the lesson, I would have to make copies of all of the pages that the students would need, and then I would cut up all the fruits and veggies so that they were ready before they came to class. For student engagement, to ensure student engagement, I begin the lesson by doing an interactive read aloud using the book The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle, which begins the lesson talking about food, which I'm sure that students will already know what's coming because they'll be able to see the bowls already on their tables. And then after the students split into their assigned groups and go to their first center, I would walk around and ask questions such as, how does it feel? How does it taste? What color is it? What does it smell like? These are open-ended questions that would spark discussion across the board in their groups. For directions, the first one would be sit down on the carpet and listen to the read aloud. The second would be grab the worksheet at your desk and go into your group. The third would be begin looking at all of the fruits and vegetables at your table and then taste test each one and mark whether you like or dislike them on your worksheet. The fourth would be after going to every center and trying each item, go back to your seat and complete the likes and dislikes worksheet. For the length of the lesson, so the first portion would be 15 to 20 minutes, which would be the read aloud, and then the second portion, which was the sensory food exploration, would be 30 minutes in total. To mark the end of the lesson, all the students would mark all of their likes and dislikes on their worksheet because it assesses how they felt about all the foods. And then after, I would look at their worksheets and see how they felt and see where each student differed. And to assess their learning, I would use a writing prompt on the next day for their journal. I would ask, what was your favorite fruit or vegetable that you tried yesterday? What color was it and what did it taste like? And why was it your favorite? So in conclusion, I think this lesson would be really, really good to let children who may not see fruits and veggies at home quite often and get to actually try them and see foods that they've never had and actually start to appreciate where the food comes from and how important it is in our daily lives.